Hey, welcome to day number 3 of the Reinvent Challenge family. I am joined by the wonderful, by Mr. Modise Moloi, whom I'm going to introduce quickly, and then I'm going to ask him to just say hi to all of you. But yeah, today we are chatting about reinventing in your finances. There are quite a number of things that we will be chatting about, but reinvention has already been discussed previously. It's really your birthright. It's your identity. It's your creative identity given to you by God, because you are created in his image and likeness. And wherever there is formlessness and void in your life, wherever you see confusion, wherever you see grief, and wherever you see sorrow, you are invited to reinvent. You're not just invited to leave things as they are, you are invited to reinvent. And we said that reinventing the finances is actually primary, because always throughout history, even in the Bible, resources are at the foundation of building the temple, of building any other organization, even family. So today I am joined by my coach, Mr. Modise Moloi. Mr. Modise Moloi is a strategist. He is a facilitator. He is a life coach. He's a husband and a father, a man whom I really honor and regard highly. He's not just here to share with us just theory. I invited him because I saw himself reinvent himself in the area of health, in the area of finances, because how you do one thing is how you do everything in your life. Mr. Modise Moloi, you are welcome, my sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. 𝐾𝐲, for having me on the wonderful show. And I'm super excited to be part of this conversation. The third day, I've enjoyed the first and the second day. Exceptional, very inspiring, energetic conversation. And thank you so much for creating this platform for us to have a conversation, particularly in the beginning of the year, on such a very interesting and important matter of finances.
Yes. No, you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. So before we continue, I'd like to just challenge you on chats, all of you that are watching. I'd love to challenge you to put your questions on chats for us. If you have any particular question, please do put it on chat so that we can answer your questions even as we go along. But also, I would love for you to be our teacher assistants. Like anything that is being said, that you really like, give us your energy. You can't say amen here. We can't hear you, but if you put it on chat, you are doing two things.
Yeah, no, they can say amen on chat. We'll read
say
it.
Amen on chats, correct. But you will be doing two things. One, you will be encouraging us because we feed off each other. But two, you are also feeding to the algorithms of Facebook, because they love it when we interact. So, Mr. Moloi, good evening, my sister Millicent. I can see you. Thank you so much. Millicent will be joining us tomorrow. I also saw that you, Millicent, and Mr. Moloi will be speaking together at an upcoming event, which I am planning to be part of. So, Mr. Moloi, I want to start it this way, right?
Yeah.
I want to start it this way. We are going to have a conversation about everything we discussed offline.
Yeah.
But I want to start here. When I first met you, you were driving a mean machine, right?
Yeah.
And I
so
saw
why
you
did you have to go there?
You actually even posted about it, so I know that it's not private, because you posted about it recently to say, hey, I wish I was driving my machine. So why I'm bringing it up is because you actually reinvented by actually going to something that others perceive as going backwards. And this is where I want you to start. A lot of us have a really skewed mindset when it comes to reinventing in the area of finances. We think reinventing is only when you are buying a bigger house or when you are buying a bigger or faster car, right? And I just want you to talk to us about, when did you realize that, hey, I actually need to reinvent? What was happening in your life at that time, so that we can sort of connect from that place before we talk about all the other stuff that you have planned for us?
Yeah, look, it definitely connects with what we're going to talk about tonight. I drove a Peugeot 1.4 Pop Art. That is a good car. I still love the car. Very, very wonderful car, manual car. A Pop Art Peugeot is good. It performs. It's especially for a small car, and it's equally balanced. That was one. I drove one series. 118 turbo, you know what it means. From that to 318, what happened is that we actually got an accident as a family. It was with my entire family in the same car. We got an accident and the car was written off. And after the car was written off, we had options of whether we are going back to get another BMW, and which is what I actually wanted from the onset. Whether I go for a BMW, I go for the Mac, to explore. So these were the options that I had to say, like, you know what, let me go for the Mac and explore a different car. But I knew that I always loved speed. So performance-wise, BMW is always my car. I couldn't go for another BMW. The reason being that we had specific personal family goals that we needed to achieve, and therefore we needed to calculate. It was out of calculation. No, it was not out of unaffordability. It was out of to say, if we want to achieve certain things in the next 2-3 years, what is that we are going to do? Are we going to go for another car? And the other reason for that was to say, we had already paid the car for about 4 years. So I was looking forward to say, like, the next year we are paying it off and I don't have to be paying the car. So I'll be having a good car, still in good condition, performing car, and then therefore we can push on other things. And when this happened, we then had to make a decision as a family. I sat down with my wife, and then we had a conversation about what is that we're going to go for. And we looked for different options. And then we had to look to say, what can we find? We then got a Corolla Quest 1.8. And what was the focus? The focus was to say it must have space and it must enough boot, because we have kids, and then we are blessed with 3 kids. So if we travel, we should be able to put all the bags in the boot. Although the space is not as equal as for the BMW 318, the boot is quite very big. So it was out of one of the classification of the goals is around finances, which is about how do you save finances, how do you manage your finances. Then the other reason was to say that we were clear that we are not defined by what we drive. We are not what we possess. We are who we are, regardless of what is that we have as a material thing. So we were not making a decision thinking about people. So that's one thing that was quite very important. So when people see you moving from 318 to Corolla Quest manual, for that matter, it seems as if like you are regressing in life. It is not a regression. It depends on the defined set of goals that you basically have. And then as soon as we have been able to close on a few projects that we want to focus on, definitely we are coming back to a Beamer. I've seen Mzansi version. It's a beast. It's a beast. The
powerful
technology, the performance, everything else. It is exceptional. I've seen the latest Macs and everything. They are massive. They perform. The technology, everything, But the most important thing was to say we should not delay ourselves or derail ourselves, because at times when things such as those happen, we derail and we delay our progress because we want to be like the people next door. So we were very clear. The other thing that had to help us was that we were not comparing ourselves with anyone. That is why I can still be everywhere and with
Yeah.
my Corolla Quest and still
Yes.
park next to a Range Rover.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally go and park next to a Range Rover, and like next time I'm gonna move from this side to that side, and I meet
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
friends who are doing quite very well. And they pushing serious beast, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Your
Yes.
your
Yes.
your 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 Porsche, they don't call it
Yeah.
Porsche, it's Porsche.
Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
no, it's not
thank
Porsche.
you for
No,
teaching
no, no, no.
us.
It's
Hey,
Porsche.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Porsche.
Hey,
So
re
they
busy ka
driving those
Porsche.
beasts. Yeah, busy got Porsche. Yeah, let balang correct, bruh. They driving Porsches, they drive the Max and everything
Yeah.
else. So I needed to
Sure.
be very clear to say, I am not less of a human being. I am not less of a
This is
man
powerful.
because of what
This
I'm
is
actually
powerful.
driving. So that's
This is
basically what
powerful.
has happened in that particular space when it comes to moving from a
Yeah.
318 BMW into a Corolla Quest. But I must also say, my kids, they don't like it.
Hold it there, Mr. Modise, if I may. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
I want to re-emphasize a couple of points that you mentioned that I thought they were so powerful. Family, if you are watching, I know this is recorded, but I would like for you to take down some notes as well. You must be able to capture everything we are talking about here today. So something powerful that Mr. Modise said, I think it's 2 points I want to pick up from. One was
Yeah.
that his reinvention did not come from a place of really struggle, because a lot of us think like we only have to reinvent our finances if there's a challenge. And I know Millicent speaks about this a lot, to say it's not only people that struggle in marriage that need to go for counseling or can speak a great message in the area. And that's the first thing. And I think that's why sometimes people are not even attending something that has to do with reinvent, because they think you only reinvent what is broken. But the second thing you said that was so powerful, I think Itumeleng Itumeleng said it there, that we are not what we possess. So the decision was made from a place of where we want to go as a family rather than where we currently are. I love that. Those are powerful mindsets. Can you take us into other concepts, picking up from your kids really not loving the Toyota Quest, and then take us
No, they don't
into
love
some
it.
of the concepts?
And you know the pleasure that the kids they can give you. They see, they identify, they spot a BMW anywhere, anytime. And one time they would be saying like, daddy, even that small BMW looking at the 1 Series, to say there's a difference. And I always say again, when people are saying the car is point A to point B, that's not the truth. There's a difference. If you have driven a 318 BMW or any other machine that's better than that, you will know the difference between a Corolla Quest 1.8. That is a huge difference, because the performance is different, the comfort is different. The safety features are different. There are a whole lot of things around the car that we're thinking about. So one of the things was to really have a conversation to say, like, we are going to buy a BMW car at a particular point in time. But here are things that I want to start with as we go along, to say it is actually impossible to achieve financial independence or financial freedom without intentional financial goals. So if the goals are not clear, it is not possible. You cannot stumble over financial independence or financial success. The second thing is that there is no way in which you can achieve financial freedom if you don't have a healthy relationship with money. You need to have a healthy relationship between yourself and money. That money is not your enemy. Money is a means that help you to achieve certain things. But the other thing that is quite very key is to realize that financial independence is not a 100 meters sprint, but it is a comrades marathon. In other words, for you to even run a comrades marathon, you should have done two oceans marathon. You should have done the full marathons. You should have done the half marathons and so forth. So what do I mean then? I mean that For you to get somewhere, there are certain things and certain steps that you must take as baby steps for you to get where you want to get to. You win some, you lose some, you become consistent in some, you regress in a particular space. But the fact of the matter is that you don't actually get out of the race. That's what is important. So that is quite very key. And three things that I want to add in terms of building the background before we get into the meatier stuff. It is that you got to be very careful of overspending and being trapped into debts in the name of Halemelalenyath, in the name of Mbonis, like you want to really show them and so forth and so on. And you're trying to attain external approval. So if you are looking for people to say that Andwana Untwam, while your pockets are leaking, while your pockets are bleeding, then you are in trouble. So it goes back to what we are hearing from this conversation, is that it is not on top, but it is on the inside. It doesn't start on the outside, it starts from the inside. That I must be content with who I am as an individual. Therefore, I will not spend to please the people. I will not spend to make people think that I am what I am not. Then the second thing that I want to highlight is to say, do not be misled into trying to redress the historical injustices of your poor background and low self-esteem through money. The fact that you were born from a poor background, you can't try to redress it through what we call spending and so forth. No, don't do that. It is not going to work for you. So the fact that you are from a poor background, don't find yourself working so hard just to say, like, you know what, yeah, we used not to eat cheese. You used not to eat 1, 2, and 3. Therefore, I am just kind of like I'm making sure that everything that I do not have, I have. Is the same as even taking care of our kids. What happens is that we have two extremes. There's a talk that I do for couples, but I will not go into it. Is that we have two extremes, whereby for the fact that you are coming from a background where you did not have, you're working so hard to make sure that your children have. But now the problem is that you go to the extremes. The fact that you were not wearing branded clothes, you didn't even buy a 6-month-old child a Nike and a Puma and the Adidas that actually within a week it is small, right? So I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that you got to be strategic and sensible enough to look to say, let's not get ourselves into that and trying to prove a point or trying to redress the injustices of the past or our hard background. At a particular age, yes, a child who can give them a Nike that will last them at least a year and so forth. And unfortunately, at times, even at the 6 months old, the child, they don't even realize that it is just your parental ego. You end up getting into debts, right? The child appreciates the fact that you love them, you are there for them, you care for them when they cry, you are here. And then there are nappies, there's milk, there's everything, and they are warm and so forth. It's not necessarily about the branded clothes, but as they grow, 7 years old, 8 years old, they start to have that sense of noticing this is a Nike, this is a Puma, this is an Adidas. I don't like Puma, I don't like, my son has started this thing of wanting them. You're gonna do flip flops, got long socks. It's a boy now. They get to see that. So there's an understanding in terms of that, right? So you can start working on that, but don't go extreme. We have conversations. This is what we can afford. This is what we cannot afford, and that. Those are the conversations that we can. So you don't do it because you want to fit in. You want to be seen as a good parent. Your good parent is defined by what you can afford for the kids, and only to find that we are even buying on debt, on credit. That's even kind of like it's not really what you can afford. That's another thing. The other thing that I want to really highlight as a background is to say, be careful of being trapped into financial spider web in the name of self-reward for university and professional hard work. And here I'm going to use as an example a few professions. The people who have written board exams, people who have studied for about 7 years, those people are seriously in debt. And the reason they are in debt is because they feel, I have worked so hard for 7 years at
Sure.
university. So, and the first thing
Sure.
that I want to do, I want to get a good machine. They get
Yeah.
real stuff,
Yeah.
bruh. They get
Yeah.
like your C350
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercedes Benz, and then someone has
Yeah.
to pay about 20 to 25,000 rand on the car installment, excluding insurance,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Mr.
So
Modise, that sounds like a common thing across all professions as well, because I train contractors as well for different
yeah,
companies, and these guys still have that same thing. "Eh, mona ke berekile boima this week,"
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
on Sunday or Monday, whenever they get an off, they just go and blow off that money, come back
yeah,
to start off from scratch ka Monday.
yeah,
It sounds like it's a common feature with, I don't know if I
yeah.
should say the black
Yeah,
community.
it is. It's not necessarily only black community. I promise you, it's not only black.
Sure.
It's across. It's not a race issue. It is a human issue.
Sure.
You see, so the people, because you work hard because of your professional hard work, self reward, and there's nothing wrong with that. When I coach a couple of my clients, I challenge them to celebrate themselves,
Mm, mm, mm.
and they hardly celebrate themselves, some of them. But the most important thing is to say, like, it is not about spending or a lot of money. It could buy yourself a chomp. Why it's about chomp on that in LA, something that we are looking forward. If I can just have a chomp, you know, and the cheapest chocolate, it was DFA at that particular point in time. So
So true.
it is equally important to say that I'm just going to buy myself lunch bar. I'm going to buy myself a chocolate. I'm going to buy myself this just to celebrate myself. That is quite very important. The idea is about saying to your mind, I am celebrating
Yeah.
myself. Celebrating yourself doesn't require you to spend hundreds of thousands. It can require you just going out for a dinner once a month and spending about 300 rand to 400 rand, and go to a good restaurant and really make sure that you have a good dinner.
Mm,
You are programming your mind to say, as I work hard, I celebrate. It gives you a space to reflect on the progress that you are making as an individual. Because more often than not, one of the challenges with issues of financial goals is that we don't read our goals consistently, we don't review our goals consistently, also don't reflect on our progress consistently. So those three R's are
mm,
quite very important. When you create time to be out of your house, to be out of your normal environment, just to review, to reflect, and also probably revise your goals. That's what kind of like is very important. So this is just the background around the mindset that we need to build
mm,
for us to
mm.
be able to really get to the space whereby we are doing well financially. And the Kokela, I probably maybe I can highlight a few concepts that I think each and every individual must have an idea of them to say, what are we talking about here? Then the first thing is about financial intent. Financial intent for me is about financial goals. So there are four
Okay.
categories of goals that I talk about.
Mhm.
The first one, they are four F's. One, it is your faith. That is about prayer, the word. Is about your prayer, the word, the issues of the spirit, and so forth. You know? Meditating on the word of God, and so forth. Then number two, it is about your fitness goals. Your fitness goals, they have to touch on your health. They have to touch on your mental well-being. They have to touch on your spiritual well-being, emotional well-being, and that's about the areas of fitness. There are specific things that you got to do for you to be fit in those areas. Then the third
Mm.
one is about your family and friends. You got to have
Sure.
clear goals around your family and friends. Where do you draw boundaries also, and so forth when it comes
Yeah.
to even family and friends. And then number four, it is about financial goals, that you need to have your financial goals. So you need to be clear about your financial goals.
Yeah.
You need to be clear about financial insights. It's about basic financial literacy, understanding of what is an asset, what is a liability, the compound interest, investment,
Yeah.
savings, and capital. All those things, just to have the knowledge around that. And that knowledge doesn't require you to go to school. It simply requires you to go to a bookshop or buy the books that are
Mm,
talking about
mm,
finances
mm,
to
mm,
empower
mm.
yourself. Number three, the critical concept is a concept of financial reserve or financial emergency or emergency fund, just to have understanding what is the importance of that, and things such as like I'll cover it somewhere else, but things such as where the retrenchment cover, you know, things such as your policies and all that. I will cover that a bit later on. Then number 4 is about financial wisdom. That's where you really got to be knowledgeable around issues of budget, debt management strategies, investment, and so forth. That becomes about financial wisdom. So it is one thing to know what to do, is another thing to apply it. The challenge is not necessarily the knowledge. The issue is the application. So the reason we are having this conversation is to really challenge each other, that we may come to the place of implementation, the place of making sure that we are applying what we are learning. Lastly, we can therefore reach to the place of financial independence or financial freedom. Financial independence and freedom, they are not necessarily the same concepts, but they are related. So, but the essence of this concept is all about that you are able to make your personal choices without necessarily being limited by what the finances are all about. It's like, for instance, if you feel that you need to move out from your workplace and into business, then can you do that without necessarily worrying about what is going to be happening in the next month or so? So these are the key concepts that I really feel that they are quite very important to talk about. And I think like just probably maybe where you want to come in, we will therefore break into dealing into what are the 5 reasons that make people to fall into the what I call the debt grave. La scholar.
Yeah. Sure. You've shared such powerful nuggets. And I think one thing that stands out for me is the issue of taking responsibility when it comes to your finances. You know, really getting the knowledge, knowing, having the skills, and not just leaving it to someone else to just delegate it. I think we can no longer delegate.
No, you can't.
We can no longer.
You can't outsource it. Bro, I had to invest in several personal finance books. I have read a number of them. How to make your first million, becoming your personal financial advisor. You are not broke. You are pre-rich by Paulo. I've listened quite a lot to the financial bunny. A lot. I've read like finance. I go into it. And I have learned, and I have noticed to say, whatever book that you read, actually they are saying the same thing. They are just saying it differently, but they are consistent on the things that you got to do. Those things are very applicable. I've read a book by Molefe Power, such a wonderful book also. So is that they have written. They've put the insights and the knowledge on how they can help us to become better people financially. The truth of the matter is that if you're not financially well, it ends up affecting your physical health. It ends up affecting your mental well-being because you are stressing about money. So it is important for us to really think around how do we make sure that we grow into becoming financially independent. Let me give you 5 reasons more often than not why do people fall into the debt trap or the debt grave. The first one is financial literacy. People are financially illiterate. The reason people are financially illiterate is not because there are no books, there are no courses that are teaching about financial literacy. It's just that people have the sense of fear of talking about finances. People have the sense of fear of engaging, even looking at their bank statements just to see how much is the bank charging you on a monthly basis. Some people don't know, they don't even want to look at their bank statements because of the fear of really confronting where they are financially. That's one of the things that's really a challenge to many other people. Financial illiteracy is leading many people into financial debt. Then the second thing that really causes this aspect, it has to do lack of discipline. As we say, you cannot delegate your financial literacy to anyone. We cannot outsource it to anyone else. Lack of discipline is one of the things that is remaining a challenge to many other people to really find themselves doing well financially. So it is quite very important that we are addressing things such as financial literacy. You've got to really deal with the sense of lack of discipline as an element that is quite very key. The third thing that we need to deal with that is really causing people to fall into that grave, it is keeping up with the peers, keeping up with the peers. The challenge is that you don't know the sources of income for that your peers are having. Some people have advantage of being financially supported, or they have the backup of their family when it comes to finances, and they have the backup on a couple of things. Other people, their first cars is not what they bought themselves, is what their families have bought for them, or even their first apartment, there is a huge deposit that probably their parents have been able to put as a deposit for them to be able to get those to acquire the apartments that they are living in, whereas other people, they don't have any financial backup, they don't have any support structure when it comes to finances. So when you are competing and comparing yourself with such people, you might be disadvantaging yourself. Therefore it becomes critical for you to ensure that you are not keeping up with your peers. Be content with who you are, be content in what you have. Don't be complacent, don't be in the comfort zone, but just be content with the idea that you still want to grow in your finances. So it is key for you not to find yourself to keep up with the peers. Then number 4, it is that people don't have anything that they have saved for emergencies. So by the time they are hit by an emergency, they find themselves that they have to get into debts. They have to go and get the loan, with credit card, overdraft, and any financial facility that they can get hold of. They find themselves having to take revolving loans and so forth. The reason is because there are no emergencies. Emergencies are the things that are not planned. The emergencies will always happen at a time that we least expect. And therefore, it becomes key, it becomes pivotal for you to have where you can dip into so that you are able to cover for that particular emergency without necessarily getting yourself into debt. That is number 4. Number 5, it becomes the issues of family pressures. Family pressures is all about saying your family expectations. Family expectations, I can talk about immediate and extended and relatives. Let me explain the difference for me. Immediate family is about your husband, wife, and children. That is your immediate for me. Then your extended could be your cousins and everyone else. Or we can put the other way around. We say that your extended then can be probably your parents, your sisters, your brothers, and then the third one, it becomes your relatives. I don't have any science, any framework to put this, but these are just the concept that I put for myself, so that you are then able to clarify where when you're talking about family, who are you talking about? So you find that your family, as in your brothers, your sisters, your parents, they can push you into that, and not deliberately or intentionally, but without really being aware that they are pushing you into that, whether it is through comparison, whether it is through an expectation that you should be able to do something for them one way or the other. It does. And other people will call it black tax, which is a concept that I really don't like and I don't believe so much into it. But for me to say, if the expectations are not clarified, people will expect to say, you are working more, so they think that when now you really have unlimited sources of funds and that. one of the reasons is because we don't have open conversations about what we can afford and what we cannot afford, and then what can we do and what we cannot do. And another thing that we don't do is that we don't become very strategic in our approach, saying that we help our families to be able to become financially independent. Immediately they are financially independent, they are not depending on you as a source of income, or depending on you to be able to assist wherever you can assist. But if they are able to do well themselves, therefore you are able to do something together, you put the funds together and you collectively do something as a family, that becomes quite very key. That is in terms of your like whether you're extended or your relatives, where you put it. And then you can have anyone else outside that particular circle. But the critical thing here is to say that 5 reasons that I have observed that lead people into financial trap: financial illiteracy, we are responsible for; lack of discipline. Then thirdly is about keeping up with the peers. And number 4 is lack of having emergency fund. Number 5, it could be the family pressures that are really causing people to find themselves into the debt trap.
Mr. Modise, please repeat them so that we can just put them on chats for people. Number 1.
Yeah, financial illiteracy.
Financial illiteracy,
Lack of financial discipline.
Okay, lack of financial discipline, got it.
Keeping up with the peers.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one, and is at the center of everything. It is kind of like, for me, that is really a serious challenge to many other people. I remember now, I laugh with some of my friends and say like, some when they say they are going to holidays, and they say like, I'm not going to holiday, I'm going home. so now I'm going home. And but at a particular point in time, we are planning, we have put together plans, we are looking at saving, and then we'll go to a holiday. So if you can afford to go to a holiday, just go home. It's there's nothing embarrassing about it. You go home, bro, and then enjoy. It's not it's not really about go high, and I enjoy chicken, le salad ya the baked beans, le mayonnaise, and I enjoy it and all that. But ngeke uhlale kunje. Yabo. So that's
I
the
won't
thing
go
that we need to build.
I won't stay. I'll go to Kwaggafontein. It's fine. So number 4.
Number 4, emergencies. Lack of so emergencies, they lead people to financial trap or financial debts if ever they don't have emergency funds. And number 5 is about family pressures. As you've explained, it could be immediate, extended, and relatives. They can actually lead into family into debts. And I probably here's a thread in this. It is about comparison, competition, lack of contentment. Those things are dangerous.
Sure.
And let me add another one. Let me add another one. So being content doesn't mean that you must always be comfortable with the fact that we cannot afford certain things. Don't be comfortable.
I don't know
our
if it's
last
my network.
piece.
I lost something.
What I'm saying
Repeat that.
is that the fact that you are content doesn't mean you must be comfortable in lack of affordability. So I will talk to it when we close to say, what do we need to do going forward? Yeah. So those are the 5 things that are keeping people into that. And then I want to throw something very interesting that to you now. Is about what I call poverty sponsors, the things that are sponsoring our poverty. 4 things. And it's a practical things. And look, and the first one is what we had to deal with and contend with, is the issue of a car and a house that is outside your affordability range. And how do you see that a car is outside your affordability range? Is when you have a balloon payment. It then tells you that actually you cannot afford it. It's not only just about saying the installment, is to say that, can I afford this car? No. The reason you do what we call balloon payment. It is not just about the installment. It is just a sign that you actually don't afford it. So there's nothing wrong with you driving a particular car because you are not defined by what you possess, remember? And then the house that is outside your affordability range is equally important for you to look at, to say, this is what I can actually afford. And that's why you see that as soon as just one salary, in fact, this is how I put it, you find yourself being one salary away from poverty. That when that salary doesn't go into your bank account the next month, or the 15th area on the 25 month end, then you cannot even afford to buy electricity of 500 rands. You must know that it is a huge challenge. So it is important for us to understand that the things that are outside affordability range, less than take a break a little bit from those. And number two is the issue of spending excessively on entertainment. It is very possible, and then I will deal with something that I call little foxes in your pocket in a moment. So spending too much on entertainment can really be costly. And I will give an example probably. Let me deal with it now. That, do you know it is possible to spend about 12,000 rand in a year on eating at work? 12,000 rand. We don't see it because you're spending about, say, 50 to 60 rand a week by buying lunch every day. So 5 times by 50 is about 250. 250 by 4 in a month, it is about 1,000 rand. Not about, it's 1,000 rand. 1,000 rand by 12 is 12,000 rand. You find yourself that you have spent 12,000 rand. Okay, it's fine. But let me ask you a question. Do you have 12,000 rand in your emergency fund that you can have that is sitting somewhere? So if you spend
that's the money
rand,
for the emergency fund.
The money for the emergency fund, you can actually take a lunch box. When we cook at night, we cook a little bit extra, then I can take my lunch. So I'm saving on that. Those are things that are quite very important. So if you don't calculate that, you don't see that this is actually a lot of money. So you can spend too much on entertainment. So I was just using an example of the lunchbox and lunch work. Then you can be any other thing. You go to a movie, you take friends out, and then you spend 1,000 rand. You take another friend out, you spend another 1,000 rand. You can find that you spend about 3,000 rand in a month on entertainment if you are not aware, if you don't pay attention to how you are actually spending. Number three, is about excessive and unnecessary unsecured debt. And unnecessary and unsecured debt is things like your credit card. The interest rate is quite very high. It's ridiculous. The other things that we can talk to could be to say the overdraft interests are ridiculous in those. Unsecured debt is anything that you take as a debt that the bank or the financial institution will not be able to repossess anything if you are failing to pay. Therefore, they make sure that they charge you a high interest for them to be able to recover their money as soon as possible. So that is why it becomes quite very expensive. And that. Number four, it is a lack of long-term investing. We are not deliberate about long-term investment. We don't even have things such as like policies, which I will talk to in a moment. So things such as like you don't have an insurance, you don't have a medical aid, you don't have funeral policies, you don't have funeral covers. Let me say this one that you go get. You know, when a funeral happens, people, they cry for two reasons. The first reason, the first reason they cry because they've lost their loved one. The other reason, they cry because they don't know after the funeral what's going to happen to us.
Sure.
So we need to be so much informed that when as a father you pass on, as a mother that you pass on, your children balle barre by beso barre lefula le amphidisa. And I know that I've said it I've said
Sure.
it recklessly, but here's the point: is to say you
Yeah,
should,
yeah,
like, your children, they cry mainly because they have lost their loved one, not because they are
yeah,
worried about to say where is bread gonna come from. They are worried to say the bank is coming to
yeah,
repossess the car because the person who was paying for the car has passed on. And all that. Things such as life covers are very important. Things such as funeral policies are important. You got to have those so that, and Raziba bonus ke ba iketsa motho wa mahwe. Wa tseba ha lefu le hlahile kwa kae ba re ha re bueng ne, they don't say ha re bue so ntate, they go to the pocket, let's talk. So you got
yeah,
to be able to cover certain things. So that's one of the things that's really very important that we need to look at. And one of the reasons, again, we find ourselves into this aspect that leading into the debt trap. A issue of
yeah,
one source of income, Bazalwan, one source of income, it becomes a challenge. And I will, when I'm about to do on the last part. So one source of income, that you are not generating income with your extra time, then you are living on borrowed money and non-essentials, expenses on unwanted items. So those are the things that really are causing people to get into debts. Ne? Having said
yeah.
that, let's come closer to closing that day. I
All
said,
right.
I promised that I will deal with the issue of identifying little foxes in one's pocket. What are the little
Sure.
foxes? These are things that take some little money here and there, and then
Mm.
when you put that together, you then get to realize, like, yes, there is a lot of money that is going out of my pocket. What is the first one? It is a cell phone contract. It can actually take a lot of money out of your pocket. And remember, I've spoken about comparison and competition. You see someone using iPhone 14 only to realize or to find out that it is their employer that is paying for that phone. That is a challenge because you have compared yourself with a particular person, and it takes money out of your pocket. You are just trying to take for the good picture. That's what you're looking for so that you can have something into for Instagram. That's what we are looking for. If you are using a phone that has a high quality camera and everything, let it be that it is a tool to generate income for you. It is adding something for you, for your visibility, and for your podcast, for your TikTok and stuff like that, YouTube. And so it is kind of like a tool to generate a income. The other one is that the gym membership. The gym membership, you register for gym January, February, and then the last time you went, it was only 3 times between Jan and Feb. And the rest of the year, you've never been there. You have signed a contract. Unfortunately, you have to honor the contract. That money is lost. It is a little fox. The data and airtime,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are
yeah,
they are serious little foxes. You can find yourself spending a lot of money. So you are afraid to take probably an uncapped Wi-Fi something, which when you look at it, it is actually it may sound like or feel like it's expensive, but when you calculate the amount of money you spend on data and airtime as you are buying on a prepaid time and again, then it gets to really be very expensive. So you got to be looking at all those things to say that should you get yourself an uncapped Wi-Fi that helps you, a router that helps you to really kind of like save money. Then they give you about 40 gigs. You're paying only probably 140 or 200 rands on 40 gigs as compared to paying 140 or 199 on 3 gigs. And within a day or two, it's finished. Whereas you could have taken something that has a bigger package. That's another thing to think about. Then a daily cup of cappuccino can really be a little fox. 𝐂𝐨𝐧𝐜𝐞𝐲 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐝 can be a little fox. Then duplicate policies. You find that some of the policies that we have,
You're
you
fighting with
actually
us,
don't
the
need them.
cappuccino now.
Yeah, you got to review those to say, do I still need this particular policy? It can be $50, but you realize that actually you don't need it. Then it's the same as you're buying a car. When you're buying a car, they make you pay for all the unnecessary things. You got to inform yourself, be knowledgeable to say like, no, I don't need this this whatsoever. I don't need that. And you find that you are saving quite a lot of money. It's the same as if they the tintin on the car. When they give you a tintin on the car, remember, it is not just to say that it is about 5,000 rand. Ne? It is about 5,000 rand plus the interest they're going to be charging on that 5,000 rand for the coming 72 months, right? As compared to going somewhere, about 6,000 rand or 4,000 rand, you pay once off, then there's no any other interest. So you got to think around how you are dealing with these things. And for instance, we got our Corolla Quest. It was on the wheel caps. Then it was not on the neck wheel. Then we just probably spend, I think, less than 6,000 rand. We bought the neck wheels, and then it looks a little bit better compared to when it was with the wheel caps. But imagine if then it comes with a what do we call these things? Not a wheel caps. What is the other words? Whatever it is. Then they charge you
rims.
Neck wheels, the rims, yeah. The rims, they charge you that amount and all that. So those are things that we don't really think about. They are kind of like small boxes that we really need to be paying attention to. So I don't know that Kokela, before I go to the last part where I want us to say, having heard this, what are the 6 things that we got to do to really do better going forward? Are there any questions that I imagine, or is there any question that you want to double click?
I wanted to actually take it to the people on the floor. So you are quite right to say, guys, if you have any question, even a comment, but we would appreciate your question. So there is Champ Tato Tsetsewa, who said, you are tackling critical issues, critical matters here. Ntate Modise Moloi, thank you so much for that. Thank you for commenting. My say, Itumeleng said, hey, cokes and stuff, addiction. Hey, coke is a little fox, Leon. I know, especially in the church, our conferences nang coke. Yeah. So guys, please do add your questions. So I'm just going to allow Ntate Modise to continue, and then here and there, when your questions come through, I will then ask them. Yeah, but you can continue then, Ntate Modise.
Yeah, look, I think there are 6 things that I want to share as the last part that are very key in terms of having known all these things. That is quite very key to realize that you're going to need this mindset that I'm going to share. There's 3 fundamental things, and I close with the 6 to say it is all about decisions. At any point in time, you have to make decisions. Make decisions around your finances. Make decisions around how you want to spend your money. Make decisions around savings. Make decisions around investment. Make decisions around financial literacy. Then the second thing is going to be the issue of discipline. And if you are disciplined, you are able to commit to the things that you want to do. Then the third thing is just to have the sense of determination. Without determination, it becomes very difficult for you to achieve greatness when it comes to your finances. That's quite very important. So what are the 6 things that therefore you need to do that can be enabled by decisions, discipline, and determination? The first one, it is important to create the habit of avoiding short-term and bad debt. Creating this habit of avoiding this short-term and bad debt is that what happens most of the time is that all the short-term debts are very expensive. Bad debt is where you have all the higher purchase stuff, your credit card, your what do you call overdraft, and so forth. All these things, their interest is very ridiculous. Is ridiculous. The thing is that you got to understand this issue of interest, how it affects you. You have to understand it so that you know how you deal with it. So that is the first thing. And then here, wherever possible, you must try your level best to pay in cash as much as you can. That's quite very key. Try your level best to make sure that you are able to budget and pay for certain things on cash. Take laybys, and that's quite also important. The second thing is you have to develop the habit of living within your means or living below your means. Ideally, is to live below your means. If you live within your means, that's way better. But it is great if you live below your means. This is where you are then able to use a lot of money for savings, for investment, and for building capital if you want to go into business, for making sure that you have good reserves for if you want to venture out of the workplace, or if you are going through challenges, at least you have enough money that can sustain you for considerable or significant period. So that's the second thing, and this is actually always underwritten by contentment. So contentment is the state of the heart. It is not about competition. It's not about comparing yourself with anyone. The third thing is about creating the habit of developing your budget. This is all about knowing how you are working around your finances. This is all about consistency. It is key to make sure that you are then building all those things to help you to be able to use your finances. More often than not, if you don't know what is going in, what is going out in terms of your finances, it becomes really very difficult for you to manage your finances, and to be able to see, like, I need to deal with this, I need to stop here, I need to work hard to generate more income for this and for that one, and as a third thing. And three things that I really think you got to do also. These are beyond just what happens internally. These three things are about what you got to do even practically. Is that you must sell a product, you must sell a service, you must sell a skill to generate income. There is a product that you can sell. I sell Herbalife. That's one of the things that I sell. And I have a skill, I sell it. And then I have a service that I'm selling. I'm coaching. I'm not coaching for free. It's a skill that I'm selling. There's a service that I'm selling. So what is the skill, what is the service, and what is the product that you are selling you to generate income? Let's be honest with you. With the state of the economy, just having probably one source of income, unless your source of income is so great that you don't actually need to sell anything, you don't need to invest, you don't need to do. But I doubt even the people who are doing significantly well financially, they always find means of generating more income one way or the other. So what product are you selling, what service are you selling, and what skill are you selling? And this is where we can help you as coaches to say, what can you do with the skill that you say you can sell, the skill that you have. And number four, which is the second last one, it is about you got to deal with procrastination when it comes to your financial life and your financial strategy. I have a video clip where I'm talking about a procrastination on my YouTube channel. So you can visit it. It's Modise Moloi, and you can check a few of my video clips there that you can find the one that talks about procrastination. How do you deal with procrastination? Because the truth of the matter is that most of the time, the resolutions that we are making in 2024, these are the things that we wanted to do in 2021. These are the things that we wanted to do in 2020. We wanted to save a lot of money. We wanted to start big. It is not about starting big. It's about creating the habit of saving. Even if you were to save 100 Rand, 200 Rand, 300 Rand, 400 Rand, 500 Rand, over time, you have that culture. What is missing is that we don't have the culture of saving, investing, and generating more income as number 5. Number 6, which is the last one, you got to be deliberate, intentional in getting rid of short-term debt and start saving for your long-term financial goals. So these are the 6 things that I really believe that people have to do for them to be able to do better in their financial lives and in their finances. I think this is what I just wanted to share with you and together with the audience on the call. I hope this has been able to add value to many other people, has been able to challenge all of us. These are the practical things that really we are talking about. This is nothing magical. It's about really making sure that you have people that you work on with. And maybe, and what I can add is that at times it becomes key to have someone who is a coach, and other people, they will then call themselves financial coaches and different types of coaches. But the point is to say you got to have a coach. A coach is just an accountability partner that will help you to translate your goals into reality, that will be able to challenge you to think differently about your any goal that you basically want to achieve. So you can reach out if you are looking for a coach, if you are looking for someone to be an accountability partner. So you are blessed to be sitting with 2 coaches right on this call. So engage on that. It will really help you. But you'll have to pay. The things that are not paid for, the things that are for free, people take for granted. When I started coaching, I used to coach for free, and I have learned and noticed most of the people that were coached for free, they progressed, they implemented, but the people who paid, they wanted value for money or for what they have paid for. They did not allow every little lesson to go to waste because they had to part with money. So thank you so much for having me, Dr. Kokela. We can therefore take questions or comments from the audience.
Yeah, sure. Wow. Hey, Mr. Mool. That's why I love you. That's why I love this man, guys. That was dense. That wasn't just giving you a fast food meal. That was quite dense. And one thing about Modise Moloi, when you listen to him, he can condense quite a lot of nuggets in quite a short space of time. Now, we've been talking for an hour. Imagine how much you were able to get in that hour. I would advise, please go back to this particular podcast or this particular conversation. There's just too much. They say when you hear something like once, you only retain about 7%, and when you hear it with some visuals, it's about 7%. When you hear it, so to really retain quite a lot, you would have to repeat hearing it. You'll have to watch it over and over. But yeah, that's wonderful. So let me see a comment before I go to a question by 𝐊𝐞𝐲 𝐅𝐢𝐧𝐚𝐥. There's a comment by 𝐊𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿. 𝐊𝐿𝐿𝐿 says, what a week, a journey we are having, life transformational talks. God has really favored us indeed. Thank you so much. No, there's power. Thank you so much. 𝐊𝐿𝐿 𝐅𝐢𝐧𝐚𝐥 said, this is good. We need days. Well, Modise and I are really talking about how we can collaborate, and in our collaboration, we will see, perhaps, who knows, we can host you for a conference for a day. But as he said, it's not going to be free.
No,
So
it's not going to be free.
in closing, it's not going to be free. Mr. Modise, 𝐊𝐿𝐿 𝐅𝐢𝐧𝐚𝐥 asked, he said, sure, I'm really interested in the concept of creating extra income. And I think what he's asking for is not so much as which are the best ways to, or best extra income opportunities in 2024. But I think what he's looking for is, as a person, how do I go about it? How do I start? How do I know which stream of income or extra income to go about?
Yeah. Look, there's a model that and a framework that I use. We borrowed it from Dr. Modise Moloi, who is the coach that trained me. One of the things that people don't do is to have a moment to reflect. So the framework is called SCARP, SKARP, but I have just adapted it to be SCARP, as in a SCARP in Afrikaans, SKAAP. Is that you got to audit the set of skills that you have. What are those set of skills that you have? Speaking is a skill, writing is a skill, and I say language that is not a means of communication, but language is a tool of trade. Meaning the fact that you can speak, the fact that you are fluent in English. It must not just be for impressing people. It must be to say, how do you use that to generate income as a skill? If you are good at reviewing stuff, there are many master students that are looking for people to review their documents. There are people who are writing books. They need people who can edit their books, content-wise and all that. What are you good at? What are the sets of skills that you have? Two, knowledge. What knowledge do you have? What did you study at school? What are the courses that you have done? You have done facilitation, and tell people that you have done facilitation, and then go and take yourself out there, read and develop something that can help you generate income. I never thought at a particular point in time that I can talk about personal finance, but I then had to really invest quite a lot in terms of that. There are a couple of books. I have Mapalo, I have Warren Ingram, I have about 3 of his books. I have Molefepo, I have Master Your Money here, I have Douglas Kruger. Equally, they are very good authors. So I had to learn, I had to read until I had internalized this, that I can talk about it. So the fact that I can talk about it, it therefore becomes one of the ways in which you can generate income. And what knowledge do you have? And you got to make sure that you are clear about that. And then you, like for instance, people that are knowledgeable in doing hair, right? And it's about to Muriri Mahala. When they have money, they go to town and pay about 1,500 rand. But when they don't have money, they come to you so that you can do the hair. And so it is quite very important to realize that every set of skills that we have been given, every set of knowledge that you have, how do you monetize that? How do you generate money out of that? That is quite very key. So most of the time, it's not necessarily that we don't know, it's that we are afraid to actually charge. At a particular point in time, I was afraid to charge people for coaching. And I'm thinking like they say Muruti Modise. So when they say Muruti Modise, you feel like, I can't charge, I'll charge. And that you generate income. So it is all about making sure that you are clear that this is about you generating income. Is a mindset that we need to. So we need to deal with the fear of putting a price tag on the things that we are doing. Here I'm not talking about preaching. It's a different conversation altogether. But when it comes to I do life coaching, executive coaching, I charge you. It is a skill that I went to school for. I've spent about 18 months studying that, and I paid at that point, and 8 years ago, I paid about 40,000 rent to be trained as a coach. It was because that was a trade that I was sharpening. So the third thing that you got to do, you got to sharpen what you love. How do you move your passion into profit? So most of the time we just want to remain passionate about something. We don't think about the profit side of it, only to find that probably that is the means and the tool that God has given to you as a means of provision. Other people they have anyone that will be able to kind of like say, here is about 20,000 rand for you. But for you, you don't get that. You don't get someone that says, I have, can you do this thing for me? And if you do this for me, this is what I'm going to pay for. I'm going to pay you for. And I have, you got to invest knowledge for you to really be able to do well in anything that you then get to do. The third one, as the last one for me, is to say, where do you have results? Where do you have impact? And talk about the things that we have done well. And one of the coaches said to me, do not allow your humility to stand in the way of your greatness. I know that is foreign for people who are Christians and for us who are Christians, but I'm not going to explain that to understand the context of it. I am for humility 180%, but do not allow false humility, in fact, let's put it that way, so that at least I'm not misquoted. Don't allow false humility to stand in your way of your greatness. So it is equally important. So if I know that I am great in this thing, then I can put a price tag on it, and then people they can pay me for that. That's a mindset more than anything else. Talk about what you do. If you don't talk about the things that you do, the chances are that no one is going to be able to know what you do, and they be willing to pay you for what you are able and for what you are capable of doing. So that's basically that for me in terms of that particular question. I know it was a long answer to a very short question, but I thought it is important to do justice to the question.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you did. You definitely did. Thank you so much, Coach, for really spending this time with us. Shoo. Yeah, there's no amount of money, I think, that can ever pay for such a conversation, such powerful conversation. So where do people find you? On which platforms? I've already put on comments your YouTube page, and I linked also your WhatsApp page. Guys, I've linked them there on chats. But what other platforms, and how do also people that want to do coaching with you reach out to you? I know I'm a coach, but in coaching we also speak about compatibility. There might be someone here who's feeling, hey, you know what, I feel more drawn to Modise
Yeah.
Moloi, and I would love to be coached by him. And yeah, by all means, guys, please reach out to him. How do people get hold of you?
Thank you so much for already sharing my Facebook page. That's exactly that. Modise Moloi. You can find me on on um, on Facebook. You can also find me um, um, on Twitter, but less. Facebook is one that I'm quite very active in. Instagram the same, and then you can also find me on 073-913-1351. Let's then have a conversation. And then for you, if you love to me to coach you, just drop me a WhatsApp text. Then we will engage further in terms of how we then make that possible. And that's quite very easy for us to do that. To say how it goes and what is it that we can do for you, and how do we do that. And I'm really looking forward to have a conversation with all of you or whoever who is interested. And I want to once again thank you, Dr. Kwagela, for creating this platform and equally having me on the platform. I truly appreciate. Okay, I see a question quickly from Penwell. S is for skills, K is for knowledge, K is for
Yes.
achievement.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, Ntate Moloi.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I was saying that I see Penwell ask the question there.
No, you can continue. You can continue.
Okay, I was saying S is for skills, K is for knowledge, A is for attributes, and then there's another
So
A
you may
is for
answer.
A is achievement, then P is for purpose.
Sorry about that. Ntate. O ka re ho na le a lag on my side. It sounds
Yeah,
like
there
I'm
was a lag.
speaking over you. I think my network is, yeah, sorry about that.
No, I think it is fine now. But I was able to cover Penwell on the question that he was asking.
Okay. All right. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, family, thank you so much. And Tate Moloi, thank you. Let's not keep the family any longer. Please revisit this again. I really, really appreciate you. I'll speak to you offline in Tate Moloi. I did hear the little one also, Gare, was Nanyaka your attention. So I'm going to release you.
Yeah.
We'll chat with you just shortly after. Thank you so much. Be blessed. Blessings to you and your family.
Thank you
We
so
love
much.
you. Keep well.
Keep well
All
too.
right. Thank you. Well, family, that brings us to the end of today's session. Tomorrow, we are having a conversation with 𝐊𝐴𝐧𝐼 Musuo of Executive Dynamics. Is it? I hope I'm quoting it correctly. She is a wonderful and powerful lady. She also the CEO of Musuo Logistics. She has started so many businesses from catering, baking, logistics, life coaching, consulting. She's just doing wonderful work, and we want to have a conversation with her. I saw recently her message. She said, there was a time when I prayed and I was so depressed and I was asking the Lord a lot of questions. And yeah, she's not there anymore. And we want to have conversations with her about that. But today was just too powerful, guys. I just want to leave and really take my time. Thank you, all of you, for watching, for really staying up until this time with us. Well, stay blessed by the best and stay a blessing. I will see you tomorrow at 6:30.